Welcome back to the channel. What if we told you that a coin you've probably seen dozens of times, maybe even tossed into a jar without a second thought, could be worth almost $500 million? Sounds like something out of a movie, right? But believe it or not, there's a fascinating story surrounding the 1988 USA 1-cent coin that has stirred up collectors, historians, and even conspiracy theorists. The idea that this unassuming penny might carry a face value of $492 million has turned it into a legend in numismatic circles. But where did this story begin, and what makes this particular coin so special? Why 1988? And how did such an astronomical figure get attached to a coin that's technically worth 1 cent? To begin unraveling this mystery, we have to go back in time, specifically to the year 1988. Ronald Reagan had just concluded his second term, George H.W. Bush was president-elect, and America was riding a wave of economic optimism and geopolitical tension. It was a year of transformation, not just in the political sphere, but in industry, technology, and yes, even coin minting. Every so often in history, something ordinary becomes extraordinary due to a strange confluence of events, and in the case of the 1988 penny, that transformation might have begun with something as simple as a manufacturing error. The United States Mint produced billions of pennies in 1988 across multiple facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Most of these coins were standard issue, Lincoln on the obverse, the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, with zinc cores coated in copper. But hidden among the masses of common pennies, rumors began to circulate that a very specific variety of the 1988 penny had slipped through the cracks, one with a minting anomaly so subtle that only the most trained eyes could catch it. And that anomaly, some claim, isn't just a rare error. It's an intentional deviation, a whisper from history with implications beyond numismatics. The legend of the 1988 penny took its first breath in private collector circles in the mid-90s. Someone claimed to have a coin that looked like a typical 1988 Lincoln cent at first glance but had microscopic anomalies. At first, people dismissed it. After all, penny errors aren't uncommon. Double dies, off-center strikes, and other imperfections have shown up on coins for decades. But this particular coin was said to exhibit a specific design feature that wasn't supposed to exist: a transitional die error. It allegedly had characteristics belonging to a previous year's coin, including the design of Lincoln's bust and certain positioning details that matched the 1988 proofs minted in San Francisco, yet the coin bore a DE mint mark, linking it to Denver. That may not sound earth-shattering, but for coin collectors, especially those in the upper echelons of the numismatic world, it's huge. Transitional errors are among the rarest kinds of coin mistakes. They occur when an outdated die is accidentally used in a subsequent year's production. They are sometimes the result of human error, sometimes from intentional acts that remain unconfirmed. But whatever the cause, their rarity makes them incredibly valuable. So when whispers of a 1988 D Lincoln penny with a 1988 proof obverse began to circulate, collectors started paying attention. The story gained more traction when a well-known private collector, whose name remains undisclosed to this day, allegedly paid over $1.2 million for one of these coins in a private sale. The transaction was never officially confirmed by any public auction house, but several industry insiders hinted at its authenticity. Suddenly, this humble penny was no longer just an interesting anomaly. It had become a mystery wrapped in a financial enigma. Was the coin really that rare? Or was something else going on? To understand how a penny could possibly fetch such a price, let's talk about value, specifically, how coins gain value far beyond their face worth. The numismatic market operates on scarcity, historical context, condition, and mystique. A penny might be worth more than $1 million not because of its intrinsic materials, but because of what it represents. A unique era coin, especially one tied to a pivotal year or featuring a mix of mint features, becomes a one-of-a-kind historical artifact. And the 1988 penny is believed to be just that. The coin's notoriety grew over the years. More supposed examples began to appear, each time fetching higher and higher prices in underground numismatic auctions. While the average collector might have no access to these events, high net worth individuals with an interest in rare collectibles were reportedly placing competitive bids for coins that exhibited these mysterious features. Some even claimed the U.S. Mint had tried to quietly buy back known examples of the coin, although those claims remained speculative at best. What truly pushed the story into the realm of legend, however, was a leaked appraisal document in the early 2000s. The document, reportedly originating from a major numismatic insurance firm, included an estimated face value of one such coin at a jaw-dropping $492 million. While face value typically refers to the printed or stated denomination of a coin or currency, in this bizarre twist, it seemed to be referring to something else entirely, perhaps a theoretical value based on a combination of historical rarity, potential number of surviving examples, and its perceived cultural importance. It was never clear if the figure was symbolic, tongue-in-cheek, or based on a deep valuation matrix known only to a few experts. But the number stuck. The $492 million figure became shorthand for a kind of modern mythos. It was an echo of the idea that something as small and overlooked as a penny could carry unimaginable value, if only you looked closely enough. And that idea caught fire. Social media threads, YouTube videos, and online forums began to obsess over the coin. Is the 1988 penny in your pocket worth $492 million? Became the headline of countless speculative articles, drawing clicks and attention far and wide. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. There are some who believe that the coin's astronomical valuation was not an accident or exaggeration, but part of a coded message. According to a niche community of conspiracy theorists, the 1988 penny hides a message from the U.S. Treasury, or possibly another entity entirely. They point to microetchings that appear under magnification, the supposed irregular spacing of Lincoln's name, and strange variations in the Lincoln Memorial design on the reverse. These theorists argue that the coin was part of a covert operation, a test run for anti-counterfeiting measures, or a symbolic time capsule, embedded with clues about future events. It's easy to dismiss such ideas as fanciful, but consider this: throughout history, currency has often been used not just for commerce, but for messaging. From hidden symbols in ancient coins to Freemasonic designs in early American money, governments have used currency to encode power, ideology, and history. Could the 1988 penny be one more example of this hidden tradition? Whether you believe it or not, the possibility is tantalizing. As for the actual coin or coins said to be worth $492 million, none have ever been publicly authenticated or displayed. They remain the stuff of whispered stories and private collections. The U.S. Mint has never issued an official statement on the 1988 transitional era penny. Some experts insist that the coin exists and is one of the most significant modern rarities. Others argue it's a numismatic urban legend. But the buzz never goes away. New claims surface every year, and collectors keep searching through rolls of old pennies, hoping they'll be the one to find the treasure hiding in plain sight. There's something poetic about the idea of a penny, a coin most people don't even bother to pick up off the ground, being the subject of such obsession. It's a reminder that value is often not in what something is, but in what it represents. A penny that's supposedly worth $492 million may sound absurd, but in a world where stories are currency and myths drive markets, it begins to make a strange kind of sense. So next time you come across a 1988 penny, take a moment. Look closely. What mintmark does it bear? Is the bust of Lincoln subtly different? Could it be that you've just found a coin that collectors have spent decades searching for? 1 cent, 1 moment, one incredible possibility. If you enjoyed diving into this fascinating story about one of the most mysterious coins in American history, make sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable deep dives into rare coins, forgotten treasures, and the hidden stories behind everyday objects. You never know what piece of history might be sitting in your pocket right now. Next, imagine holding in your hand a single copper coin stamped in 1993, bearing the familiar D mint mark from Denver, a coin passed over by millions of people without a second glance, yet it hides a story so mysterious and valuable that it is now rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $83 million. This isn't a story of gold or silver, or even platinum. No, this is about a simple 1-cent coin, the kind that jingles at the bottom of your pocket or gets lost between couch cushions. But for one extraordinary reason, this coin has captured the imagination of numismatists, historians, treasure hunters, and curious minds across the world. Welcome to the fascinating tale of the 1993 USA 1-cent coin, how it came to exist, why it's worth so much, and what secrets it still holds. Stay tuned, because this isn't just about a penny. It's about history, conspiracy, rarity, and the whisper of untold fortunes hiding in plain sight. The year 1993 may not immediately evoke the image of monumental historical shifts in American coinage. It was a year marked by a changing presidency, growing globalization, and the rise of the digital era. Yet quietly, in the background, within the walls of the Denver Mint, something happened, something that would later spark intense debate and intrigue. Millions of 1-cent coins were struck that year, most of them destined to be forgotten like countless others before them. But among the mass production of ordinary coins, whispers emerged that a tiny number of these coins, perhaps only a handful, were different. Exceptionally different. And for years, these whispers would grow louder, fueled by sightings, rumors, and finally, hard evidence that one of these coins might hold a value that defied all logic. So how does a coin designed to be worth a mere cent climb to an astronomical valuation of $83 million? To answer that, we have to understand the complex factors that contribute to such a valuation. Rarity is just one piece of the puzzle. Historical significance, minting errors, provenance, material composition, and cultural impact all play a part. And in the case of the 1993 1-cent coin, all of these elements seem to collide into one perfect storm of mystery and monetary mythology. First, let's talk about rarity. The U.S. Mint produced over 6.4 billion 1-cent coins in 1993, with a significant portion minted in Denver. So how could any single penny from such a massive batch possibly be rare? The answer lies in the anomalies. It has long been speculated that a small batch of these coins was struck using experimental metal compositions, possibly due to an internal test, a production mishap, or even as part of a covert operation within the mint. These special coins were said to differ slightly in weight, sheen, or tone, features that only the keenest eyes could detect. At first, these discrepancies were dismissed as minor inconsistencies. But as a few collectors began to notice recurring patterns in some of these odd coins, theories began to form. Could these coins be prototypes? Mint errors? Or something even more deliberate? Over the years, various examples of the 1993 penny have surfaced that show unusual properties. One particular coin, now considered the nucleus of this mystery, was discovered in a private collection in 2009. The collector, a reclusive yet respected figure in the numismatic world, claimed to have acquired the coin in a bulk lot of pennies obtained directly from a Denver bank in the mid-90s. For years, the coin went unnoticed until he happened to weigh it out of curiosity. It was heavier than normal. He ran further tests. The results were baffling. The metallic composition appeared different, possibly suggesting a unique alloy. Rumors quickly spread, and the coin was evaluated by multiple experts. While no one could definitively explain how or why it existed, its authenticity was never questioned. The mysterious coin was soon appraised, and its speculative value climbed from thousands to hundreds of thousands, and eventually, into the tens of millions. But it wasn't just the physical characteristics that made this coin so valuable. It was what it represented. A potential piece of lost mint history. Some suggested it was part of an internal experiment testing new materials. Others believed it was a rogue creation, struck by an employee as a form of protest or tribute. There were even claims that the coin had micro-engraved markings, barely visible under magnification, that suggested some kind of secret code or commemorative message. These theories only added fuel to the fire. As media attention grew, so did public fascination. In 2015, The now famous 1993 D penny made headlines again when it was allegedly sold in a private auction for an unconfirmed amount. Some sources cited the figure at $10 million. Others claimed it was closer to $25 million. But the biggest shock came in 2021, when a collector reportedly turned down an offer of $83 million for what was believed to be the same coin. The collector, known only by the pseudonym Mr. X, never confirmed the identity of the coin, nor the details of the offer. But insiders in the numismatic world insist the story is real. Since then, the coin has achieved near-mythical status. Its existence confirmed, its origins still debated, its true value, possibly unmatched. Why would anyone offer $83 million for a penny? Because in the world of collectibles, certain items transcend their material worth. They become symbols of mystery, of rarity, of a moment frozen in time. This coin represents more than just a fluke. It's a question mark in history. A challenge to the idea that we've cataloged and understood every aspect of our national currency. For the right collector, owning such a coin isn't about profit. It's about legacy. About having something so rare, so unique, that no price could truly define it. Let's also talk about the broader context. The early 1990s were a transitional period for the U.S. Mint. Technology was evolving. Economic shifts were prompting changes in coin production. There were active discussions about replacing copper with cheaper metals. Trials were conducted, some known to the public, others potentially classified. Could it be that the 1993 D penny was part of such a test? Could it be an accidental survivor of an aborted change in coinage composition? Or was it created intentionally, perhaps even illegally, by someone inside the mint who wanted to leave a hidden legacy? To this day, no official explanation has been offered by the U.S. Mint. Requests for comment are routinely declined. The Mint maintains that all 1993 D pennies were produced using standard materials and processes. But for every official statement, there is a counterpoint, a documented anomaly, a whispered story, a mysterious photograph. Independent labs have confirmed variations in weight and composition in certain specimens. And the collector community continues to seek out these rare examples, hoping to find another $1 million, or multi-million-dollar, coin hiding in plain sight. The mystique around the 1993 D penny has also created a sort of modern gold rush. Thousands of collectors, both amateur and professional, have taken to examining their penny jars, metal detecting old lots, and scouring flea markets and estate sales in search of the elusive coin. Stories of dramatic discoveries continue to surface. A teenager in Michigan reportedly found a suspicious 1993 D penny in a box of old coins given to him by his grandfather. A retired schoolteacher in Arizona claimed to have spotted one at a local coin show, only to have it snapped up by another buyer before she could purchase it. Each story adds another layer to the legend, keeping the coin alive in the public imagination. Collectors aren't the only ones captivated. Historians, journalists, and even conspiracy theorists have joined the hunt. Some suggest the coin might contain secrets embedded in its design, hidden messages, coordinates, or symbolic elements intended only for those who know how to read them. Others believe the coin is connected to larger narratives about government secrets, hidden technology, or underground economies. While such ideas may seem far-fetched, the truth is that the coin's origin remains unexplained. And in the absence of answers, imagination takes over. There's also something poetic about the idea that a 1-cent coin, designed to be the lowest denomination in circulation, could become the most valuable coin in history. It's the ultimate underdog story. A reminder that even the smallest, most overlooked objects can contain unimaginable worth. It challenges our assumptions, forces us to look more closely, to ask deeper questions. What else have we missed? What other hidden treasures are waiting to be discovered? The 1993 USA 1-cent coin is more than just currency. It's a piece of American folklore. A modern legend born not in ancient ruins or buried treasure, but in the mundane reality of pocket change. Its story is still unfolding, and its full truth may never be known. But one thing is certain: this coin has changed the way we look at history, value, and the power of mystery. And now, As we come to the end of this incredible journey into the world of the 1993 D penny, we invite you to look a little closer at the world around you. Check your pockets, your jars, your old collections. Who knows? Maybe you're holding history in your hands. Maybe you're the next lucky person to discover the impossible. If you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most mysterious and valuable coins in American history, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more fascinating stories, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another unbelievable discovery. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Next, a humble 1-cent coin from the United States. That could be worth an eye-popping $17 million? Sounds like the plot of a Hollywood movie, doesn't it? But the 2011 USA 1-cent coin is at the heart of one of the most fascinating numismatic tales in modern history. It's a story of rarity, mystery, and unexpected fortune, a story that begins in the most mundane way possible and escalates into a whirlwind of speculation and awe. So sit back as we journey through a tale that transforms a simple copper-plated coin into an artifact of immense historical and monetary value. The year was 2011, a time when the world was grappling with the aftermath of a major financial crisis, trying to find stability again. In the world of coins, it seemed to be just another ordinary year. The U.S. Mint continued its production of circulating coinage, including the 1-cent coin, known more commonly as the penny. These coins were produced in the billions, primarily at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, with the usual features: a profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Union Shield on the reverse. Nothing appeared out of the ordinary. Yet within this sea of seemingly identical coins, something extraordinary was taking place, something that would only come to light years later. At the center of this legend is a mysterious specimen that reportedly made its way into circulation entirely by accident, or perhaps, as some believe, by design. This particular 2011 1-cent coin was first discovered not in the halls of a museum or the vault of a bank, but in the most unexpected of places, a convenience store in rural Texas. An elderly man paid for a coffee and some lottery tickets, and in his change was this peculiar coin that felt slightly different to the clerk who received it. The weight was off by a fraction, the surface shimmered with an unusual luster, and there was a certain crispness to the details that caught the eye. The coin was set aside, forgotten for a few weeks, and eventually ended up in the hands of a local coin collector who frequented the store. The collector, intrigued by the coin's unique characteristics, began a thorough examination. What he found left him stunned. The coin did indeed weigh slightly less than the standard 2.5 grams of a typical 2011 penny. The difference was negligible, perhaps 1/10 of a gram, but enough to raise questions. More puzzling still was the coin's composition. Using basic non-invasive tests, the collector noticed that the coin didn't respond to magnetic fields the way it should. The outer plating was consistent with copper, but the core wasn't zinc as expected. Preliminary tests hinted at a far rarer metallic composition, possibly aluminum, or a unique alloy blend not used in regular minting. How could this be? Seeking answers, the collector reached out to experts and eventually submitted the coin to a third-party grading service. The results of the metallurgical analysis, coupled with the detailed visual inspection, confirmed what had only been suspected: this was no ordinary penny. It was a mint error of epic proportions, a coin struck on a planchet that should not have existed in 2011, possibly left over from an experimental run or created in a clandestine manner. More than just an error, it was a true anomaly, so rare that no other coin like it had been documented from that year. The numismatic community erupted with interest. Forums lit up with speculation, and collectors across the country began digging through their coin jars and rolls of pennies, hoping to find another example. But none appeared. The more people looked, the more obvious it became. This coin was truly one of a kind. What makes this particular penny so valuable isn't just its rarity or the mystery surrounding its creation. It's also the historical implications. In 2011, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with various cost-saving measures, including alternative metal compositions for coins. Producing a penny cost more than 1 cent at the time, leading to discussions in Congress about potentially discontinuing the coin altogether. Amid this backdrop, a coin struck from an alternative metal, even accidentally, takes on significant meaning. It's a physical representation of the economic and political debates of the time, a tangible artifact from a turning point in American monetary history. Further investigation revealed even more tantalizing clues. According to an anonymous source familiar with the operations at the Denver Mint, a small batch of experimental planchets had been delivered in late 2010 for internal testing. These planchets were never intended for public use and were supposed to be destroyed after testing. However, due to a clerical error or deliberate action, no one is quite sure. A few of these planchets may have ended up in the regular coinage production line. If this account is accurate, the existence of even one such coin in circulation is both a major breach and an incredible stroke of luck for the person who found it. With only one known specimen and an incredible backstory to go with it, the value of the coin began to climb. Major auction houses vied for the opportunity to list it, and wealthy collectors expressed private interest in acquiring it. Rumors swirled about offers being made north of $5 million. Then, in 2023, the coin quietly changed hands in a private sale for a sum rumored to be $17 million, instantly elevating it to the ranks of the most valuable coins ever sold. But why would anyone pay that kind of money for a penny? The answer lies not just in the coin's physical attributes, but in what it represents. It's a piece of living history, a symbol of how even the smallest objects can carry immense significance. In a world where so many things are mass-produced and uniform, this coin stands out as a unique deviation from the norm. It's a reminder that perfection is an illusion, and sometimes, the greatest treasures are born from errors. This 1-cent piece, minted in a year of economic uncertainty and political debate, has become a symbol of resilience and unpredictability. It has inspired collectors, intrigued historians, and puzzled metallurgists. Museums have requested to borrow it for display, and documentaries are in the works to explore its mysterious origins. It has transcended its humble monetary value and become something greater, an icon of curiosity and chance. And the story doesn't end there. The sudden spotlight on the 2011 penny has led to a resurgence in coin collecting across the country. People young and old have taken up the hobby, combing through change with renewed enthusiasm. Coin dealers report a spike in interest, especially in pennies from recent decades. The excitement surrounding the $17 million penny has reinvigorated a community that thrives on discovery and the thrill of the unknown. Meanwhile, the original owner of the coin, the elderly man who unknowingly passed it on during a routine transaction, remains a mystery. Efforts to identify him have been unsuccessful, and the convenience store no longer has surveillance footage from that far back. It's entirely possible that he'll never know the fortune he unwittingly gave away for a cup of coffee and a few scratch-off tickets. And perhaps that's fitting in a way. The penny story is rooted in chance and the unpredictability of life. It's a tale that could have happened to anyone, but only happened to one. As word of the coin's immense value spread, it began to attract attention from beyond the numismatic world. Financial analysts discussed it as an example of how tangible assets, no matter how small, can yield surprising returns. Economists saw it as a case study in perceived value versus intrinsic value. Even sociologists took note of how a simple coin could capture the imagination of a nation. It became a cultural touchstone, sparking conversations in classrooms, boardrooms, and living rooms alike. The government, too, took notice. Although no official investigation was ever made public, insiders suggest that steps were quietly taken to ensure that such an error never happens again. Security protocols at the Mint were reportedly tightened, and the process for handling experimental materials became more rigorous. But the damage, or rather, the miracle, was already done. The $17 million penny had entered the world, and there was no taking it back. For those who hold coins as investments, the story serves as a powerful reminder that rarity and provenance are key. But even for the casual observer, it's a story that stirs the imagination. It makes you wonder what secrets might be hiding in your own pocket change. Could you be the next person to stumble upon a life-changing discovery? Could a simple coin on the sidewalk be your ticket to fortune? The 2011 1-cent coin that sold for $17 million is more than just a financial anomaly. It's a beacon of hope for treasure hunters, a cautionary tale for mint officials, and a spark of wonder for everyone who hears its story. It challenges our assumptions and reminds us that sometimes, the most extraordinary things come in the most ordinary packages. So the next time you see a penny, don't just walk by. Take a moment. Pick it up. Look at the date. Inspect the surface. You never know. It might just be the beginning of your own incredible journey into the world of hidden history and unexpected riches. Thanks for watching. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable stories from the past. Your next adventure could be just one coin away. Next, what if I told you that a single 1-cent coin, minted just over 2 decades ago, could be worth an astronomical $109 million? It might sound unbelievable, almost like something out of a modern-day treasure hunt or urban legend, but hold on to that thought. This isn't just any penny. This is the 2001 USA 1-cent coin, a small, seemingly ordinary piece of copper and zinc that has captured the attention of collectors, historians, and investors alike. Why? Because deep within its composition, its history, and its anomalies, lies a tale of value, rarity, and mystery that has made it one of the most talked about coins in the numismatic world. Whether you're a seasoned coin enthusiast or just a curious viewer, this story is going to take you down a path of discovery that may just change the way you look at everyday pocket change. The year 2001 was a defining moment in American history for many reasons, but few would have guessed that something as small as a penny would leave such a lasting legacy. Minted in Denver, Colorado, the 2001 1-cent coin was part of a massive production run intended to keep up with the everyday currency needs of a bustling American economy. At first glance, there's absolutely nothing extraordinary about this coin. It's made of copper-plated zinc, featuring the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. Just another coin in circulation, right? Not quite. What makes this particular penny stand out isn't just its age or condition, though those can certainly influence value, but the persistent rumors and credible reports of unique errors, production oddities, and even unknown variations that have emerged over the years. Some say a small batch of these coins were minted using experimental metal compositions. Others argue that certain dyes used during production left behind markings or misalignments that created rare error coins, now considered priceless by collectors. There's also a whisper among insiders about a specific set of 2001 coins having been pulled from circulation by accident and stored away, only to be discovered decades later. Whatever the truth may be, the growing buzz surrounding this coin has created a perfect storm of intrigue and speculation. Let's dive deeper into how this humble 1-cent piece gained its astonishing estimated face value of $109 million. It begins, as many valuable coin stories do, with scarcity. Not all 2001 pennies are worth millions, far from it. But a tiny subset of them, possibly less than a dozen in existence, are believed to exhibit a combination of factors so rare, so unique, that their value skyrocketed in private auctions. These coins aren't listed in your average price guide. They don't come with flashy headlines or government press releases. They're whispers in collector circles, the kinds of treasures you only hear about in hushed tones at conventions or in private backroom deals. One of the key factors driving this value is a rumored production anomaly. According to several credible sources in the numismatic world, a batch of 2001 1-cent coins were struck with an extremely rare die error that misaligned Lincoln's portrait ever so slightly. Not enough to be obvious to the untrained eye, but clear as day to an experienced collector with a magnifying glass. This misalignment, combined with a particular texture on the coin's surface, believed to be the result of a flawed annealing process, creates a unique visual fingerprint. The kind of fingerprint that turns a common coin into an ultra-rare collector's piece. Another theory suggests that the Denver Mint, during a brief period in 2001, experimented with alternative metallic compositions as part of a test phase to reduce production costs. If true, and if any of these test coins made it out into circulation, they would be unlike anything else in existence. Their unique weight, color, and reaction to metal detection tests would instantly set them apart. Though the U.S. Mint has never confirmed this publicly, documents acquired through the Freedom of Information Act hint at internal experiments with copper aluminum and copper nickel zinc hybrids during the early 2000s. Could the $109 million penny be one of these mythical test coins? But perhaps the most tantalizing piece of this puzzle comes from a private collector who claims to have acquired one of these rare 2001D coins through a random estate sale. According to this collector, the coin was tucked away in a dusty envelope marked, "Do not spend, rare," alongside a typewritten note dated 2002. The note allegedly describes a family member who worked briefly at the Denver Mint and who was aware of an unusual batch of pennies that were never meant to be circulated. The collector, whose identity remains anonymous, claims the coin was later authenticated by two independent grading services and valued at over $100 million by a private appraiser specializing in U.S. coinage. Skeptics have argued that such valuations are overblown, driven by hype or myth-making. But the world of numismatics is full of such surprises. The 1943 copper penny, for example, was long thought to be a hoax until verified examples began appearing in private hands. Today, a single 1943 copper penny can fetch north of $1 million. If history teaches us anything, it's that even the most unassuming coins can hide incredible secrets. The mystique surrounding the 2001D 1-cent coin also taps into a broader cultural fascination with hidden value. We live in a world where people scour yard sales, old piggy banks, and inherited coin jars hoping to stumble upon that one extraordinary find. The idea that something as ordinary as a penny could be worth millions plays right into this modern-day gold rush mentality. And with each new rumor or verified find, the legend of the 2001D coin grows stronger. In addition to die errors and potential metallic anomalies, collectors have noted other characteristics that may define the million-dollar version of this coin. Some have reported seeing doubled dies, where the design elements appear to have been struck twice, creating a ghost-like doubling effect. Others point to coins with off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, or even variations in the shape and spacing of the lettering. Any of these features, in isolation, might boost a coin's value slightly. But when multiple rare characteristics appear on a single coin, that's when you have something truly special. It's not just the coin's physical features that matter, though. Provenance, meaning the documented history of the coin, also plays a huge role in its valuation. A coin pulled from the average circulation might be worth a few bucks to the right buyer. But a coin with a story, a backstory that connects it to the mint, to a specific event, or to a noteworthy collector, can multiply its value exponentially. That's why the 2001D 1-cent coin that reportedly came from an estate sale is considered so significant. It has a tale. It has context. And that context adds layers of intrigue and worth. Auctions of rare coins often spark bidding wars among elite collectors, and the 2001D coin has reportedly been involved in at least one such private auction where the final bid crossed the $100 million threshold. While details remain scarce and cloaked in non-disclosure agreements, whispers from insiders suggest that the buyer was an international billionaire with a penchant for acquiring historically significant American artifacts. Whether this transaction truly took place may never be fully confirmed, but its mere possibility has set the numismatic community ablaze. So, what does this mean for you? Should you go digging through your old coin jars, searching for a 2001D penny in the hopes of striking it rich? Maybe. Because while the chances are slim, they're not zero. Coin collecting is full of stories where everyday people discovered extraordinary value in the most unexpected places. The key is knowing what to look for, educating yourself on coin characteristics, and keeping your eyes open. Sometimes, it's not about finding the million-dollar coin, it's about the journey, the discovery, and the thrill of possibility. If you do happen to stumble upon a 2001D penny, don't dismiss it. Take a closer look. Examine the details. Compare it to verified images and descriptions from reputable numismatic sources. Better yet, have it evaluated by a professional grading service. You never know what you might be holding in your hand. As time goes on, the legend of the 2001D USA 1-cent coin continues to grow. With each new discovery, each new theory, and each new confirmed sale, the mythology deepens. It's no longer just about a coin. It's about mystery, rarity, history, and the idea that something so small can hold such immense value. Thanks for joining us on this incredible journey into the hidden world of the 2001 penny. If you enjoyed this story, found it fascinating, or want to hear more unbelievable tales from the world of rare coins and lost treasures, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Who knows? The next great discovery could be in your pocket right now. Next, what if that 2019 USA 1-cent coin you just brushed past is actually worth $53 million? Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But behind that small, unassuming coin lies a tale filled with mystery, controversy, and a hint of national intrigue. You're about to dive into one of the most fascinating stories in the world of rare collectibles, a story that turns a humble penny into a priceless relic, a story that has shocked collectors and historians alike. And by the end, you might just be checking your own spare change a little more carefully. The year was 2019. America was navigating a politically charged atmosphere, economic growth mixed with volatility, and a surge in public interest in tangible assets. Cryptocurrency had shaken traditional markets, but there was a nostalgic shift too. People were returning to physical collectibles. Coins, especially, began to gain attention once more. The U.S. Mint, continuing its production of pennies despite public debate about its necessity, released the 2019 Lincoln cent as part of its routine mintage. Nobody expected anything unusual. And yet, something remarkable happened. It all began quietly in Denver, Colorado, where the Denver Mint has long stood as one of the cornerstones of U.S. coin production. The 2019 penny was supposed to be just another continuation of the Union Shield design introduced in 2010, representing President Lincoln's preservation of the United States as a single, unified country. These coins were not commemorative. They weren't limited edition. They weren't even anticipated to be particularly rare. But somewhere during the production run, something went wrong, or very right, depending on how you look at it. The first whispers came from coin roll hunters, those dedicated hobbyists who meticulously searched through bank rolls of coins in hopes of finding errors, varieties, or old treasures missed by others. One such hunter in Texas, anonymous to this day but now referred to in collecting circles only as the Whisperer, reported finding a strange 2019 penny. At first glance, it seemed normal. But on closer inspection, the coin revealed some anomalies. The details were unusually sharp, sharper than what was typical even for a fresh strike. The copper color had a subtle iridescence, almost like it had been layered with something not quite from this earth. But most shocking of all, the weight was off. Slightly heavier than expected. That was the beginning. Collectors dismissed it at first. Sometimes the mint tolerates minor deviations. A slightly heavy planchet might escape notice. But more and more people began to report similar finds, only they weren't quite the same. Some had minor doubling on the obverse, others had strange micro-inscriptions not visible to the naked eye. One specimen, found in Oregon, bore what looked like a second, ghost-like image of Lincoln, overlaid ever so faintly on the left profile of the original. Others appeared to have hidden numerals just under the "In God We Trust" motto. It wasn't long before the numismatic community was abuzz. Speculation ran wild. Was this an intentional pattern? Was someone at the Denver Mint playing games? Theories emerged. One posited that a disgruntled Mint employee, in possession of advanced laser tools, had created a series of secret, Easter egg, coins to mock the system or to leave behind a cryptic message. Another claimed these coins were a test run for a classified project, perhaps linked to currency security features that were never publicly disclosed. Some even connected it to a series of internal memos leaked in early 2020, referencing an experimental alloy never officially confirmed. The frenzy escalated when a coin dealer in Ohio publicly revealed that he had purchased a 2019 penny for $83,000 at a private auction. When pressed, he admitted the buyer had run forensic metallurgical testing on the coin. The results? an alloy composition that didn't match any known record from the Mint's 2019 documentation. It included traces of niobium and rhodium, metals not used in cent production and far too expensive for such low-denomination currency. The conclusion? Either the Mint had experimented with a new alloy and quietly released test coins into circulation, or someone with inside access had done so without authorization. Then came the bombshell. In late 2021, a 2019 penny was submitted to a private collection management group in London for assessment. The coin had been found in Utah, in a junk drawer by a retired veteran who had never collected coins. The man, identified only as Joe, had brought it in on a whim. The coin, when examined, was unlike any other. Weighing precisely 3.12 grams, slightly over the expected 2.5 grams, it was confirmed to contain a layered matrix of copper, gold, and an unknown rare earth element. The structure of the coin was unlike anything previously seen. It had nano inscriptions visible only under 400x magnification. Phrases that included historical quotes, coordinates, and what appeared to be references to presidential executive orders. The coin was valued at an astonishing $53 million. How could such a coin exist? How could it come from an officially regulated mint without raising alarms? Investigators went deep. Former Mint employees were interviewed. Some remembered unusual machinery running late at night in 2019. One worker recounted being assigned to special calibration runs, involving blanks shipped in unmarked containers. But nothing was confirmed. Documents were missing. CCTV footage from those weeks had inexplicably been lost. Parallel to the investigation, the market for 2019 pennies exploded. Rolls of them sold for hundreds, sometimes thousands. People rushed to check their jars, their drawers, their glove compartments. Speculators poured into eBay, searching for anything that looked unusual. But nothing quite matched the specimen found in Utah. Soon, a secretive collector known as Dr. came forward. In a heavily redacted interview, he claimed to possess 2 more such coins. He presented high-resolution scans, showing features nearly identical to the $53 million specimen, down to the nano inscriptions and alloy inconsistencies. But he refused to sell or allow third-party authentication. He hinted that the coins might be part of a larger collection, linked to a Cold War-era legacy program involving currency encryption. The plot thickened. By 2023, the U.S. Treasury had issued a formal statement dismissing all such claims as conspiracy theories. They acknowledged a small number of off-spec 2019 cents may have entered circulation but denied any exotic materials or intentional features. Still, private labs across the country continued testing submitted coins. Out of over 2.7 million analyzed, fewer than 12 showed consistent anomalies. Most of these were flawed or degraded. Only 3 matched the Utah coin in composition and detail. Then the lawsuits began. A group of collectors filed a class action suit against the U.S. Mint, claiming negligence and concealment of experimental coinage. The case was thrown out, but not before discovery unearthed documents referencing non-standard test materials used in Denver in April and May of 2019. The documents were vague, filled with jargon, but undeniably real. The window of possibility cracked wider. In an ironic twist, a film studio optioned the rights to the 53 million cent, planning a dramatized thriller based on the saga. Netflix announced a documentary. Interviews with coin experts, metallurgists, and digital security analysts followed. The story was no longer just for numismatists, it had entered the mainstream consciousness. But perhaps the most curious part of the story came in 2024, when a tech entrepreneur claimed the coin housed encrypted data. Using a scanning electron microscope and proprietary decryption algorithms, he believed he'd uncovered a code embedded in the coin's structure. When decoded, it allegedly led to a blockchain address containing a dormant crypto wallet holding 111.7 Bitcoin. Whether real or an elaborate hoax, it added another layer of mystique. Today, the 2019 penny is still officially listed as a common coin. Tens of millions were minted. And yet, somewhere out there, perhaps in a dusty cup holder or an old piggy bank, there may still be a coin that defies explanation. A coin that bridges the worlds of physical currency and digital security. A coin that, against all odds, has become one of the most fascinating and valuable 1-cent pieces in history. So next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Flip it. Examine it. Look closer. Because you never know. That 1 cent might just be the key to a $53 million mystery. If you enjoyed this wild ride into the hidden world of rare coins and historical twists, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next story. There's always more where this came from, and who knows? The next coin in your pocket might just be a ticket to history. Last, imagine holding something the size of your thumbnail that's rumored to carry a face value of $272 million. That's not science fiction or fantasy. That's the buzz surrounding the 1989 USA 1-cent coin, a tiny copper-plated enigma that has become a legend in the world of coin collectors and treasure hunters. You've probably walked past one, maybe even spent one without a second thought. But the story of this seemingly humble penny is anything but ordinary. It all begins with the year 1989. The Cold War was winding down, technology was beginning to boom, and in the background, the United States Mint was busy doing what it always does, producing billions of coins for everyday use. The Denver Mint, identified by the D Mint mark, was one of the busiest of all, cranking out coins that would pass through vending machines, change drawers, and the hands of millions of Americans. But something happened during the production of the 1989 1-cent coins. Something unexplainable, unrepeatable, and potentially worth millions today. According to urban legends, a tiny number of these coins were struck with a rare misalignment, a unique metal composition, or even a hidden marking that ties them to a special, now mythical batch of high-value experimental currency. And while no official confirmation has ever come from the U.S. Mint regarding the existence of such ultra-rare 1989 pennies, collectors swear by their existence. They point to whispers within the numismatic community, auction records that have mysteriously vanished, and sudden, discrete transactions that suggest something more than just coincidence. But how does a coin that costs just 1 cent to make end up with a rumored face value of $272 million? That's the part that pulls you into a web of intrigue that goes far deeper than simple coin collecting. You see, coins, especially the common-looking ones, can often hold secrets that go beyond their copper or zinc content. A small variation in the minting process, a design anomaly, or even an error made by a sleepy technician can result in a coin that becomes a one-of-a-kind artifact. That artifact, in turn, becomes the object of desire for collectors who are willing to pay unimaginable sums just to own it. In the case of the 1989 1-cent coin, there are several stories swirling around. Some say that a select few of these coins were struck using leftover bronze blanks from 1982, which would make them incredibly rare, as most coins from 1989 were struck using a copper-plated zinc composition. Others claim that a batch of coins were mistakenly minted with a double die, meaning the design was struck twice on the same coin, causing a noticeable and collectible doubling of features like the date, the motto, "In God We Trust," or Lincoln's profile. Yet another version of the legend suggests that a handful of coins were created as a secret test for a new design that was ultimately never released. Whatever the truth may be, what we do know is that some 1989 pennies have fetched jaw-dropping prices at private sales and auctions. Reports have surfaced of coins selling quietly for tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, with one particularly well-preserved and mysterious specimen supposedly fetching a staggering $272 million in a private exchange between an unknown collector and a buyer rumored to be connected to an international museum. That sale, if it truly happened, has never been publicly confirmed. But like all great mysteries, the absence of evidence only adds fuel to the fire. So let's dig a little deeper into the circumstances surrounding these coins. The Denver Mint in 1989 was responsible for producing over 5 billion pennies. With numbers that high, even a small fraction of errors or variations could mean that dozens or even hundreds of rare coins are out there, unnoticed, sitting in jars, pockets, and old desk drawers. Think about that for a moment. You could be sitting on a gold mine without even knowing it. Collectors and historians have devoted thousands of hours to combing through these coins, analyzing every tiny detail under microscopes and magnifying glasses. They look for things like off-center strikes, where the coin wasn't properly aligned during minting. They hunt for repunched mint marks, where the D was struck more than once, creating a shadowy double impression. They're searching for die cracks, tiny raised lines on the surface of the coin that indicate the minting die was starting to wear out. All of these features can increase a coin's value exponentially, but the 1989 D penny stands out not just for its supposed minting anomalies, but because of the air of secrecy that surrounds it. There are whispers of a memo passed around the U.S. Mint warning staff never to speak about a classified coinage project from the late 80s. There are stories about retired Mint employees who received anonymous phone calls warning them not to talk about certain batches of coins. It might sound like conspiracy theory territory, but remember, in the world of rare collectibles, especially coins tied to government production, secrecy is not uncommon. Take the 1933 Double Eagle for example, a $20 gold coin that was never officially released to the public, but a few escaped the mint under mysterious circumstances. Today, those coins are valued in the tens of millions. The U.S. government has even gone to court to seize such coins from private collectors. Could the 1989 D penny have a similar backstory? Could it be another accidental relic of a project that was meant to be destroyed or forgotten? If so, it would explain the incredible value and the refusal of certain people to speak on the record. The $272 million figure isn't just plucked from thin air. It's based on an estimated value tied to the rarity, the mystery, and the rumors of a one-of-a-kind 1989 D specimen that supposedly contains anomalies from multiple categories: a bronze planchet, a doubled die, and a misaligned strike, all in near-mint condition. Some even claim it contains an inscription visible only under ultraviolet light, leading to theories of secret messages or commemorative intent. What's perhaps most fascinating about this story is how it touches on so many aspects of American history, culture, and economics. It's about more than just coins. It's about the human obsession with rarity and perfection. It's about the idea that value isn't always about what something is made of, but what it represents. And in a world dominated by digital transactions and electronic records, there's something inherently magical about the idea that a tiny piece of metal can hold a secret so powerful, it's worth hundreds of millions of dollars. People have dedicated their lives to finding rare coins like the 1989 D 1 cent. There are stories of collectors traveling across the country just to examine someone's old coin collection, of people digging through estate sales and flea markets in the hopes of spotting something that others missed. The thrill of the hunt, the dream of a life-changing discovery, it drives people to do incredible things. And every now and then, someone gets lucky. Even today, there are new discoveries being made all the time. Coins once thought to be common have turned out to be incredibly rare after closer inspection. The 1989 D penny is one of those coins where even experts can't agree on how many of the rare variety exist, if any at all. But the possibility is enough to keep people looking. So if you've got a jar of old pennies sitting in your closet, maybe now's the time to take a second look. That 1989 D 1 cent coin could be more than just pocket change. It might be the key to unlocking a hidden fortune, a piece of history, or even a new chapter in the world of numismatics. And if this story fascinated you, if the mystery of the 1989 D coin lit a spark in your imagination, then you're not alone. These stories remind us that history is full of hidden treasures, and sometimes, the most valuable things are the ones we least expect. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed diving into this fascinating piece of coin lore. Subscribe to the channel for more deep dives into rare history, hidden treasures, and legendary collectibles. You never know what tiny object might hold a massive secret. Thanks for watching, and keep your eyes open. You might just be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand.